Hello and welcome back to Saudi Arabia. Today I am at Alula and I'm visiting the arguably #1 site in the country, which is Madain Salah. Around 131 tombs left by the Nabateans. I'm about to hop on a bus now here at the main winter park at Alula. I'll be talking about all the logistics of getting here, the prices and how it was for me at the end of this video, as it's a little bit complicated, especially at this time of year, and the site hasn't fully opened yet. All of that coming. I'll just shoot the vlog first and show you its amazing beauty, and afterwards I'll go over for all those that are interested in visiting for themselves. At the entrance to Madain Salah, you start here at the Madain Salah railway station, built by the Ottoman Empire in 1907, and it was built for the purpose of being a stop for pilgrims on the way to Mecca. And today they have a few different buildings still standing and some shells of trains, and it can create the imagination of what the trains would have been like out here during the time of Lawrence of Arabia and all of that in 1916. Anyway, about to head on the bus in just a moment and get closer to where all the tombs are located. So I've now come off the bus in our first place. Right in front of me here is Al Divan, which is built into the hillside to protect from the wind. Most of the Nabateans looked for cities that would protect them from the elements, and that's why the whole of Hegra, the second city after Petra for the Nabateans in Jordan, this is where they decided to build one of their most important places due to the fact it has such great protection from the weather. You can see here Al Divan, which would have been used for non-funerary purposes. All the others are tombs, but this is where religious meetings and perhaps feasts would have happened. And right next to it is a Sikh 40-meter passageway between two parts of the rock. Having just got off the bus, we're now approaching the Ladies' Mountain, where up to 61 tombs have been built into the rock, or palaces, and there's also a couple really spectacular ones on here too. The detail is incredible. I've not seen history so well preserved on the facades of many of these. You can see here the characters of the Nabateans, the letters, which is their classic style, right next to one of the tombs just here. The remainder of the ladies' tombs here on Ladies' Rock, and you can see this would have been where the spice route and incense route was, starting in Yemen all the way north to Damascus in modern day Syria. Now just got off the bus again, and we're approaching a site that was only discovered very recently and has only just been opened to visitors within the last year, and it's all very new, and they're taking people around now. So many guides here with us, by the way, speaking English and Arabic. It's very well organized. up until 5 years ago, most of this area was covered by sand, and it took a lot of rain to actually reveal that there were in fact more tombs underneath the sand that was hiding them. And these tombs particularly are not far from the residential area, which is just in the distance over there, and they would carry the bodies through to the tombs over here. Fascinating stuff, all very recent. They're still learning and doing more excavations about all of the sites. Inside here, the big tomb would have been for the father, and also the mother, and the smaller ones for the children. Not too sure how clearly you can see. I can't step any further forward than this. Just before we get back on the bus again to go to the next place, there is one spectacular natural rock just behind me. It's basically showing a human face. It has not been altered or carved in any way at all. That really is what it looks like.
بين المشرق والساحل الكون غنى والفواكه والخضروات
Salam. So this is a show demonstrating what it would be like to be here during the Nabatean times. It's absolutely incredible. It's a live show. You can interact with them. Let's take a look.
هلم إلينا يا زائر فلدينا قماش وحرائر ما بين القطن أو الناعم جحد هو أفضل تاجر ما بين القطن لدي الفخار لدينا الدموع
ديماسي اسحبوا سيوفكم
أنا الملكة جميلة الزوجة الأولى للملك رابيل الثاني، وابني هو دماسي الشجاع.
أنا الملكة هاجر
الزوجة الثانية للملك
ومحبوبة قلبه، وابني هو
قاتلك النساء، قاتلك النساء، خذ هذا بل هكذا أيضا بالسيف. لا لا لا
مدى الأيام سيحلو ذكرها.
أيها الكاهن الأعظم ملكون، ابدأ مراسم التكفين.
That might have been one of the best shows or live performances I've ever seen. It was really fascinating. Hopefully a little bit of it came through. You could see them carrying the body of the girl into the tomb at the end, and they're all still acting now as they're walking off. It's amazing. We're now approaching the final tomb on our Madain Salah tour, and it's Qasar Farid, which is the largest of all of them, and it's on a freestanding rock monolith. It has a lonely, eerie quality to it. Usually if you see any pictures of Madain Salah on the internet or in a book, it'll always be this one. Despite being the largest tomb of all of them, Qasar Farid is not actually finished, and the fact that it's on its own gives us the impression that it was a tomb for someone who was quite wealthy, of certainly the middle class. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more information about how I visited and how you can possibly work out your trip to Madain Salah, then stay on for a couple more minutes, and if you're not interested, then you can of course leave the video now. So I stayed in Alula, which is the town closest to Madain Salah. It's around a 15-minute journey. The town is quite spread out, and finding a hotel, to be honest, wasn't that easy. I originally couldn't find anything on booking.com that wasn't extravagantly expensive. Most places were, we're talking £300 a night, £200 a night. If you go on booking.com, type in Alula and see for yourself. So I figured that when I arrived in Alula, I would just walk around and try and find a hotel. Now, I went from Jeddah to Medina by a 2-hour train, prices below, and then after a couple hours layover in Medina, I took a Saptco bus from Medina to Alula, and I arrived in Alula around 10:30 at night. And I'm very lucky that I met a nice guy on the bus who said that he would help me find a hotel when I arrived. Without him, I would have had a big problem trying to find somewhere to stay, because his brother met us at the bus station in Alula when we arrived at 10:30 and drove us around the town, and we went to about 4 or 5 different hotels, and every single one was sold out. Couple that with the fact that I couldn't find any reasonable hotels online, I would say that Alula is a pretty tricky place to find accommodation. It's not a big town, and make sure you are arriving in the day, probably, to go and search those hotels, because if I didn't have the guy and his brother with me taking me around, it was dark, it was late, I probably would have had to find a mosque to sleep in or something. There would have been nowhere for me to go. The distances between all the hotels that we checked were huge. Finally, after about the 4th or 5th attempt, we found a furnished apartment which I got for 300 Riyal a night, which is expensive generally, as you can normally find hotels for about 25 to 30 pounds a night, and there'll be decent rooms. My furnished apartment was not great. I don't even have a clip of it, but take it from me, it was a bit dirty and not the greatest. So you're going to have to pay a little bit more if you want something nicer in Alula. If you like camping, there are places to do that, and you're going to have to do a little bit more research into accommodation or splash out just a little bit more for somewhere much nicer. Perhaps when I went, it was just particularly busy. I don't know. But finding accommodation wasn't the easiest thing. Let's hope as the tourism progresses and more investment is done into the town that there'll be more budget-friendly, good quality accommodation options available. However, do not let that deter you, because Madain Salah is spectacular, as you have seen in this video. And I was very lucky because I visited at the right time. So from, I believe, January to March 2020 is the Winter at Tantora Festival, which is all the tents that you saw in the background at the beginning of this video. It's why there's been a special setup. There's different events such as polo, there's singers like Enrique Iglesias coming. They've really put a lot of effort in to promote Alula and the surrounding area and get some attention to the tourism in this particular area. And visiting Madain Salah is one of the particular packages that you can do as part of the Winter at Tantora Festival. Now, it's not very clear on the website, but all you have to do is just go to the ticket office at the Winter at Tantora Festival. You go and buy your ticket there for around £50 or $70 and pick up your ticket, which includes a hop-on, hop-off bus and tour guides, coffee breaks, and a good quality tour, including the performance that you saw in this video too. All of that included getting up close to the best and most impressive tombs at Madain Salah. The whole thing lasts about 3 or 4 hours, and then afterwards you'll get dropped back off at the winter park, and then from there you take an Uber, Kareem, your personal car that you've rented, back to Alula, and then from Alula, either a bus or however it is you're getting back or traveling to the next city. So this festival is scheduled to end at the beginning of March, so only in a week's time. So after that, I'm told that the site will not be able to have tourists for the short term. And it's said that apparently Madain Salah might open again later this year. In what sort of circumstances, I don't know, if it's going to be tours or you're allowed to go and walk around yourself. Most likely, I think it's going to be the same experience that I had with tours, but perhaps without the performance. But I imagine this hop-on, hop-off bus service and roughly the same ticket price will still be part of the package. But let's see what they do. Keep checking the website for more information, but do bear in mind that you really have to check before you go. Don't just turn up, because they might have changed the policies and there's only a very limited time at the moment, which is why I was so lucky to visit. So to be safe, perhaps wait until the end of 2020 and we'll know more information. If anybody does know information about what's going on with Madain Salah and when it will be open again after March 2020, then let me know in the comments below. There's a lot of conflicting information, so we're sort of still waiting on a final piece of information that we can all say, yes, this is what's going to happen. But 100% come to Saudi Arabia within the next couple of years and make this one of the fundamental places to see. It will be open, I'm sure, permanently once it finally does get sorted later on this year. So I hope that gave you a bit more information. I know it wasn't very useful because it's closing soon, but just bear that in mind. Know that you can't just turn up now. I don't want people going and thinking they can see Madain Salah when actually it's closed. So check the information online and check different recent blogs by other travel content creators too, which will help. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I've got a lot more coming from the country. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.